was strange that when Musk talked about civil war in Europe and said it was inevitable, he got attacked a lot by the media. But lately, as you say, they seem to be writing similar things themselves. So that is quite strange. Could be a question of terminology. I mean, really, civil war, yes, like you say, needs specific factions and goals. It might just be civil unrest, i.e., basically random violence on the streets, which we already have, and no real organization behind it. I mean, I can see more and more of that, which might be something slightly different. So it might be a terminology question. It's not like the English Civil War where you have clear sides and they're elite sides. It's more like stuff kicking off randomly on the street, which maybe it doesn't qualify. And just on your sides thing, I suppose the sides are basically people who are on the side of native Brits and assorted allies who basically believe in that, in kind of assimilating into that. And then all the sort of people who look at this country as something to get revenge upon, plus the left. So, people who are sort of brought into the country, kind of your standard kind of Ashak is a bad example maybe because I don't know where she would be, but your kind of standard like we hate Britain person aren't those basically plus the immigrants plus the leftists aren't they the sort of the sides? Or is that, I suppose even that's quite unclear because the way I've put it.
Well, let's just say they are the sides. Think of all the just Machiavelli 101. The government's going to be fine with that. Government's always fine if it's two other groups. Well, it's just basic divide and conquer.
Yeah.
The people with the army and the police and other people are fighting, they can deal with that 10 times out of 10. Easy.
Yeah. Basically, the government has to be one of the sides for it to be a proper civil war.
Yeah, and so what it would need to truly escalate, one would be an absolutely massive scale. That would be one. If it was a huge scale, if we were talking hundreds of thousands of people, something like that, or tens of thousands of people, then there would be an issue. And then if the government dramatically comes in on one side, but the government are not see, this is the thing. This is where you have to be discerning in your slop intake, Nick. The government, yes, okay, there are some instances of two-tier policing and so on, but the government do come down hard on the other side too. They've arrested 600 people plus for waving a flag saying, I support Palestine action. So they are, I mean, the government do, in a way, police both sides. And they kind of, they're kind of all right with that because it increases their own power. Think of a scenario. You've got two tribes going to war. Frankie goes to Hollywood. Okay. Two tribes go to war. And the upshot is you end up with 100 people from this side, the leaders, in jail, and 100 people from this side, the leaders, in jail. Who has won? Government.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can easily deal with that. I mean, even your old libertarians, there's a book here, Crisis on Leviathan, where whenever there's a crisis, Leviathan comes in with a solution and grows itself. And let's imagine you're the Dark Lord Tony Blair. There's civil unrest in the country. The Muslims and the quote-unquote far-right football thugs are fighting. Brilliant. Facial recognition sales have gone through the roof. With it, course, digital ID, we're going to bring it in. We beef up our security, blah, 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 blah. And Leviathan has grown again. People have forgotten the Patriot Act just from 20 years ago. Or even the counter-terrorism laws that Blair brought in 2001 that were brought in to fight Muslim extremists and have been used many, many times on British natives. Many times on British natives.
What about the idea that it'd be more like the Troubles? We've got these flags as we started with, marking out territory. Could it be that kind of thing? There are different there's already territories where you don't want to go, depending on who you are. Will it be more like that?
I can't count it. You can't count that out. Possibly it will be. Possibly if the flag thing doesn't dissipate as I expect to dissipate in the next month. But if it becomes a permanent feature of life, i.e., people marking out territory, as you said, that could actually lead to an escalation of tension. But my question is, like, is that something you want? Who wants a civil war? Is that something you want?
I don't think anyone wants any of this, really.
I mean, living through a civil war would be bad. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's possible it could go that way. I wouldn't discount it.
No, I don't see any of this as good. I see it all as a disaster. It's just, I think when people talk about it, yeah, sometimes perhaps they get a bit carried away thinking it would somehow be some sort of cleansing. But yeah, most likely it would be awful. All right. I mean, that's that question pretty much dealt. I think that's most of my questions. I mean, I have other ones, but they're probably too complicated to get into an hour in. I'm a little bit confused about. Oh, let me ask this maybe just for a fun ending. How come you started to study Stalin? Is it because we've been lied to so much you want to check for yourself what he actually did, or are you going full communist? That's my
No, I want to. There's something about the Stalin story that doesn't add up. He killed 20 million people and industrialized the country in 10 years and won World War II. And somehow turned Russia into a major global superpower. Something doesn't, like, he's posting 10% GDP growth and killing millions of people. Just, it doesn't pass the sniff test. And I have, in reading stuff and researching stuff, I've come across so many things that are just outright lies that I was like, right, I want to see what is the actual truth there. I suppose if there's like a kind of practical reason to do it as well, is that libertarians always tell you, you know, there's two ways to allocate resources. Exchange is one, and force is the other one, and exchange is always the best way. Strikes me that a lot of attention has been put on the exchange side, not much on the force side. And I want to try to understand, like, what is it exactly Stalin did there? Because I've always just been something I'm confused by. I was told in school, oh, this guy was a monster. He killed 20 million people, 30 million people. But also, Russia industrialized, you know, they did like 200 years worth of industrialization in 10 years, won World War II and got to space. So I want to, like, what actually happened there? That's why I want to get to know. And I also want to get people, in a way, thinking more dynamically, right? If you're thinking with the NAP, the non-aggression principle, it's almost like you're thinking with one arm tied behind your back. And where we're headed, Nick, what needs to happen in the country may actually require government intervention.